The number of people doing business online has skyrocketed since the pandemic hit last year. So it has never been more important than now to make sure your business can be found online. Town Square can help you find more local customers with premium website services to help you grow your business faster. When you visit mylocalcustomers.com, at mylocalcustomers.com, you will find out how it's fast and easy to work with Town Square to get you new leads every day. There are no contracts, and it's a subscription you can cancel anytime. Visit mylocalcustomers.com today to receive a free competitive analysis. Be one of the first to sign up and receive $500 in free advertising on this station. At mylocalcustomers.com, you will work with a dedicated marketing specialist to help you grow your business. Don't wait. Visit mylocalcustomers.com today to learn more about how Town Square can help you grow your business. That's mylocalcustomers.com.
We know sports.
10-5 touchdown!
97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City, a Town Square media station. This is Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app. Now, live from the Matt Black Kia Studios.
What a move!
Here's Josh Hennig.
Third edition of Game Night on 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app. We are live in the Matt Black Kia Studios. Glad to have you guys all on board the show today. Sixers win opening night. Eagles news popping off. And Jason Kelce has something to say about Ben Simmons. Oh, and the start of NFL Week 7 is tonight. 6:20, we got Andy McNamara from Sportsnet joining us to talk more about the NFL weekend tonight, as he does each week at 6:20 here on 97.3 ESPN. Of course, you can join the conversation, 609-403-0973. 609-403-0973 is the text board. You also can DM the show, priority messaging at 97.3 ESPN on YouTube and Twitter. Of course, 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of CLC. We got a lot of stuff to get to here in the first segment. I do want to hit on the Sixers stuff first, and then we will get to the Eagles news that came out earlier today. It's kind of a little segue there as well. So here's the thing. I'm watching the Sixers game last night. And the first thing that comes to my mind is in the first half, it's obvious that it's the first game of the year. And I don't mean that as a negative against anybody. I'm not saying that to be condescending toward anybody, but it was just so obvious that for a team that didn't really play, a ton together in the preseason, and they're not playing at home, they're still getting their legs under them. And I totally understand that. You can't be mad at them, especially the way they came out in the second half. I mean, they were just bombs away in the second half. Furkan Korkmaz, another really good game last night. He's really come on, I would argue, in the last 18 months in his growth and development as a basketball player. Tobias Harris, another double-double. And you know what? We gave you guys the parlay last night. I'm going to pull it up again. I mean, the Embiid thing killed me. Mike Gill was right. He had Maxey all along. I was saying, look, Embiid get the number. Well, Mike and I both got the Embiid thing wrong. Okay. And listen, if you would have done the same game parlay with FanDuel Sportsbook and you would have opted in, you would have gotten that money back last night for the NBA. But, we told you guys last night. Here's the screenshot. So Brandon Ingram over 23.5 hit. Tobias Harris over 6.5 rebounds hit. He even doubled that, was 12 rebounds. Sixers covered the 3.5 spread. We hit everything but Embiid. But you're almost kind of glad, aren't you? You missed the parlay that I gave out for you guys, but you got the opt-in back, and you're kind of happy the Sixers won an easy game at the end where Embiid got a little extra rest. Don't put any extra wear and tear on the big men. You don't have to. Listen, Ben Simmons is the dark cloud hanging over this organization. All right? But you know what? It is what it is. The Sixers still won last night. And they did it in a way that makes you feel better about this team overall, in my opinion. When I look at when I look at this team, I think they can still be a top 4, top 5 seed in the Eastern Conference without Ben Simmons. I'm not promising you that, but I'm just saying I think it's possible. It's certainly possible for them to do it, but it takes two things happening. And one of them you specifically saw last night. You're going to need guys like Maxey and Tobias Harris and Furkan Korkmaz be willing and ready to shoot every single night. Those guys have to go out there and just go bombs away. That is one of the keys at the end of the day. The other key that has to happen is you have to make sure that when Joel Embiid is on the floor, don't ask him to do too much. I know that sounds simple, but I mean that in all sincerity. One of the problems I had with the game last night was early on, I felt like they were asking Embiid to do too much in the offense. I understand Embiid's your superstar. I understand this team is built around him. But at the same time, I'm just not a fan of asking the big man to go out there and cover every problem for this team. You built this team around Embiid. I understand Simmons isn't there. Doesn't matter to me. And now we live in a world where Ben Simmons is not practicing because of back tightness. It's just another example that Ben Simmons is so out of touch with this city. Ben Simmons doesn't get it. He has not gotten it, and he won't get it. Ben Simmons is worried about back tightness, and the rest of us are worried about paying our bills. Okay? All right, that's the difference here. All of us have physical pain, personal stuff in our lives, things going on, and we still go to work. We still get the job done. At the end of the day, Ben Simmons is just looking for any excuse not to play, not to practice, and to try to force his way out of Philadelphia. And Daryl Morey said in an interview that the Sixers are not going to be forced or pressured into anything. And he went as far to say, if it takes 4 years, it'll take 4 years. Now, it's not going to happen in 4 years. I told you guys yesterday, and I'll keep telling you guys this, and this is my position. And I'm keeping this position until I have information that convinces me otherwise. The NBA allows you to start trading players who were signed in the offseason in middle of December. So sometime between mid-December and the NBA trade deadline, I think Ben Simmons will be traded. Because I think it's going to take two things happening to initialize a trade. Number one, Ben Simmons can't be traded unless you're getting a certain amount of money back in return. That's how the NBA works. Contracts for contracts. So you're going to need players who were potentially signed this offseason involved in a trade. That's the first thing. You got to get to that deadline. I would be shocked if he's traded before that deadline. Okay? The second thing that has to happen is by the time we get to December, teams will know who they are. In a regular NBA season, the middle of December is roughly 2 months into a season. Okay, so right now it's October 21st. By the time December 21st comes around, you got 2 calendar months of time under your belt. If a team is 8-18 and they think they're a contender, or a team is a surprising 18-8 and they didn't think they were going to be a contender, or you have a team that's right in the middle, maybe they're like 10-10 right now at that point in the season, whatever it is, a team is going to feel the need to do something. And when you have those contracts available and you have a team that's going to be needy, that's going to be desperate, that's when Ben Simmons gets traded. And honestly, he needs to be traded. And speaking of Ben Simmons, Jason Kelce, the Eagles' 3-time All-Pro center, spoke to the media today. We had this video up on 97.3 ESPN, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app earlier today. If you don't have the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, well, you missed out on the alert. We sent you the alert with this video roughly about 5 hours ago, maybe like 4.5 hours ago. But Jason Kelce spoke to the media today, and he was asked about playing in Philadelphia and the situation with Ben Simmons. And Jason Kelce proves why he is a Philadelphia legend. Take a listen.
So, I think that's how you control everything. You really think about it like, if I just do this better, if I go out there and ball, if I go out there and play really good, nobody's going to have any choice but to love me or appreciate me as a player. So that's what I tell guys. You write your own narrative. What's going on. I don't want to crush any other player. What's going on with the 76ers, Ben Simmons, stuff like that. All that is because of a lack of accountability, a lack of owning up to mistakes, and a lack of correcting things. If all that got corrected, if you're fixing free throws, if you're getting better as a player, none of this is happening. So everybody can bitch and complain about, how tough this city is to play in. Just play better, man. The city will love you.
It really is that simple, just as Jason Kelce said. Listen, Kelce gets it. Philadelphia, New York City, Boston, Pittsburgh, Chicago. These are passionate fan bases, okay? These are fan bases that love their sports. They are diehard passionate. But part of the reason why they're diehard passionate is because as people, all right, we project our own sensibilities onto everyone else. And part of projecting your own sensibilities is saying, look, I worked all week to get paid, to have the money to buy these expensive tickets, pay this unreasonable parking fee, pay for these concessions, maybe get some gear from the store, spending money that I probably shouldn't be spending in some people's cases, right? To go watch these players play, and you can't give me your best. That is why Sixer fans hate Ben Simmons. Because Ben Simmons is not upfront with them. He's not honest with them. He doesn't give his best effort. He doesn't put forward his best foot forward. He constantly goes out there and says, I can't practice back tightness. Phone in my pocket. I don't want to go through this drill. I don't want to be in Philadelphia. I want a new start. Personal and off the court issues aside, you got to be a professional. In life, we all have problems, and we all set those problems aside to do our job. Whether you have a health issue, whether you have mental health issues, physical health issues, family issues, whatever it may be. Maybe you don't have a car. You get on a bus, right? You don't have money for this. You go without doing something for a while, right? Whatever your situation calls for, you find a way to get things done in life. You're a parent, you take care of your kids. You have a job, you get to your job. You got bills to pay, you sacrifice what you have to pay those bills. Whatever it is, the normal everyday person is willing to do what it takes to get things done. And because Ben Simmons is not that person, people cannot love him. And Jason Kelce gets it more than anybody else right here, right now. If Ben Simmons was just honest and upfront with people about things and less passive aggressive and less childish and less, frankly, ridiculous about things, people wouldn't hate him so much. Ben Simmons' back isn't tight. He's tight. He's all bent out of shape. Because at the end of the day, the only person that fall for any of his problems is him. And speaking of the Eagles, Jason Kelce, as you heard, spoke to the media today. Good news is Lane Johnson Anthony Harris, both back at practice today. They were FPs, full participants. The only guy who was a DMP was Dallas Goedert today, but as we know, he was just activated from the COVID list. And because he's listed as an illness, I'm assuming he's recovering from a bout with COVID in some capacity. So good to see him off the COVID list, and at least it looks like he is on track to play this Sunday when the Eagles play the Las Vegas Raiders. Coverage begins at 3 p.m. here on 97.3 ESPN FM, your home for Eagles football in South Jersey. Coming up on the other side, we'll get more into Eagles, Raiders, Thursday night football tonight. NFL Week 7, Andy McNamara from Sportsnet joins me on the other side right here on Game Night with me, Josh Hennig, on 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app. It's free thanks to First Bank of Sea Isle City.
This is the radio home for Philadelphia Eagles football. This Sunday, it's Week 7 of the 2021 season with the Eagles headed to Vegas to face the Raiders.
He lets it fly, and it's intercepted by Nelson. Stephen Nelson picks it off.
Pre-game coverage begins at 3 p.m. Maryland Mike call all the action starting at 4:05. This is where the Eagles play. 97.3 ESPN, South Jersey's Eagles station.
PropSwap is America's marketplace to buy and sell sports bets. Check out the new PropSwap.com, which is filled with fresh features like filtering tickets based on value, browse the activity feed to stay in the know, a loyalty rewards program that turns sales into extra cash, and much more. Use promo code ODDS on your first deposit, and PropSwap will match your first deposit up to $500. PropSwap, where America buys and sells sports bets.
You're listening to Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
Josh Hennig back here getting you ready for NFL Week 7. Thursday football is tonight starting at 8 o'clock on 97.3 ESPN. We'll get back to the Sixers, Ben Simmons, Jason Kelce conversation a little bit later in the show. Of course, you could chime in, DM the show through the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle City. Text board is open, 609-403-0973. And we are live on YouTube and Twitter at 973 ESPN Bet. He joins us each and every week here on 973 ESPN. He is Andy McNamara from Sportsnet. And of course, Thursday's Fantasy Football Talk with Sportsnet's Andy McNamara on 97.3 ESPN is being brought to you by Jim Malamud at Green Tree Mortgage. Your best play is to refinance today. And Andy McNamara joins us right now on the phone line. Andy, how you doing, my friend?
Oh, Josh, I'm good, buddy. I'm back in Cleveland, baby. I just pulled in. I'm doing well. Ready for Thursday football.
Yeah, from what you told me, you're doing better than me. You're having a wonderful time.
I'm going to be on my way to having a wonderful time. Yes, we're in for the American Football Legends League franchise auction. That's the show I've been telling you guys about on tomorrow, hosting with Eric Metcalf at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So I get off the plane, Josh, okay, and I'm ready for a nice evening, getting ready. And the owners of UFFsports.com say, hey, Andy, and all they do is they text me the ticket number. I'm like, I guess we're going to the game, baby. So I'll see up close and personal, Browns and Broncos. We'll see how this plays out.
Well, I can promise you it's probably going to be a game that hits the under, okay? It's
yeah, I'm with you.
I'm just putting it out there because
I am with you.
Listen, this is a strange game to start NFL Week 7 because Baker Mayfield out. Well, Case Keenum is in. Landry's playing, but we don't know what version of Landry we're getting, right? It's like tonight's going to be a weird game. So if you're somebody who maybe you need to play Teddy Bridgewater because another quarterback's in a bye, or maybe you're someone who has said, hey, Jarvis Landry's been sitting on my IR. I'm putting him back in the lineup. Let's go. Or you're someone who's like, or any running backs playing tonight. What are you telling people about tonight's game?
Yeah, listen, it's a game where I think, Josh, you want to try to avoid as many pieces as possible. Now, there are serviceable fantasy pieces, no doubt. I think Cortland Sutton, despite Teddy Bridgewater being on 1 foot, is still excellent. Tim Patrick, as far as a high floor PPR guy you can put in your flex in a pinch, and on DraftKings for sure, a cheap buy on DraftKings, yes, you can get them in. For the Browns, if Jarvis Landry is good to play, I think you do place him in. The tricky part, of course, is Case Keenum has not started a game in how long? Probably since he played with the Broncos, in 2018. And so now what we're looking at is, all right, you usually look to lean on the run. Well, Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt aren't playing. So it's Dearness Johnson and Demetric Felton. I feel Johnson, people went out and got him on waivers. I understand it. He did have a 95-yard rushing game against the Cowboys last year in spot duty. So there's a path for him to be successful. But let's say this. A lot of these guys, Josh, are like, okay, if you need somebody in your flex because you got somebody on bye. And by the way, I've gotten these tweets. Don't put Case Keenum in as your fantasy quarterback this week. Just saying.
It's probably good advice. Some of the big news in our area, Andy, has been last week, the trade of Zach Ertz to the Cardinals. He makes his debut this week. Is Zach Ertz a high buy now that he's on a better offense?
I don't think so. And the reason, Josh, is because how does Arizona use their tight ends? Now, you could argue maybe they didn't have somebody with the offensive talent that a Zach Ertz brings. But at this stage in his career, it's just an offense that does not utilize the tight ends in the receiving game as far as weapons. Remember, the first, second, and third look is DeAndre Hopkins. And then if you don't go there, Kyler Murray looks to DeAndre Hopkins again. And then if he's not there on the fourth time, then it's Christian Kirk, A.J. Green. You got Rondale Moore sprinkled in. At what point does Zach Ertz get put on the pecking order, especially in his first game learning the offense. I don't, even with as thin as the tight end position is, this is not the week to start Zach Ertz. If you can pick him up and you don't have to spend, maybe $1 fab or something like that, and you get fine and then wait and see. But we just have not seen that tight end position being used in the offense, and I don't think there's enough ball to go around.
Tight end's a very messy situation right now because for a lot of people, Dallas Goedert just now coming off of the COVID list. So he's currently on track to play on Sunday. I know TJ Hawkinson has been a disappointment for a lot of people. It really seems like, Andy, if you don't have Travis Kelce or Dalen Waller, or even if you're really stretching a Mike Gesicki, you've been having a really rough year this year.
Yeah, and Mark Andrews has been good as of late, but we know what a roller coaster he's been, right? It is tough. You have from week to week guys flashing and then coming back down to earth. Look, David Njoku 2 weeks ago. Dude was a monster. Next week, 3 fantasy points, right? Like it's way too up and down. Robert Tonyan, star last year, and we talked about it on this program, Josh. We talked about it. It was not sustainable, not by any stretch. The yards were not there. The receptions weren't there. They were all touchdowns. Well, those touchdowns are not being produced. So therefore, you have to eliminate Tonyan from the equation. Logan Thomas was really good. Well, he's been injured. So now it's just to a case where you are streaming, you are hoping that you get something off the waiver wire. Is a Jared Cook a good option? Well, not really, but we kind of know what he is. If he catches you a touchdown, maybe he gets you 10 points. It's really tough.
Andy McNamara joining us here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. NFL Week 7 starts tonight. Browns and Broncos. You can hear the action on 97.3 ESPN. Coverage begins at 8 p.m. Or if you're watching the game, maybe you can find Andy in the stands. He'll be at the game tonight.
Yes.
Give him a follow on Twitter at AndyMC81. Andy, there's a couple other players before I let you go here. San Francisco, I understand that it looks like Garoppolo is trending toward trending toward playing, coming off that calf injury. Trey Lance might not even play this Sunday at all. He's still not practicing with that knee issue. So how do you handle San Francisco offensive weapons in fantasy?
Yeah, it's tough because we were waiting. Deebo Samuel coming off the bye. Yes, he's back. Well, he's back, but is there going to be anybody who can distribute him the football that you can rely on with confidence? Well, the good thing with Deebo Samuel is even when Jimmy G comes on, whose stat line is typically, well, I'll keep it nice, not good, Deebo can still produce. So if he's not 100%, if Trey Lance isn't playing, what happens if Jimmy gets hurt? Now we're down to some weird situation. If you have Deebo Samuel, I still feel, again, I'm going to say that word flex, Josh. I think he's at tops of flex this week because of the injury situation to the people who are going to be distributing him the football. Now we look at the running backs. Well, are you going to go Eli Mitchell? I guess. You know, Trey Sermon? Sure. Are anybody going to win your week that you want if you had a better choice? No, you wouldn't. So we look at that angle. You know, we know there's no George Kittle. Like there's just the only thing when I look at that 49ers team is Deebo Samuel is the only serviceable piece. I would avoid him in DraftKings. He's going to be too pricey on the DFS circuit. And again, in your lineup, you might not have a better option, but if you can on the waiver wire, that's where you try to go get yourself like I said for tonight, I really like the Tim Patrick who is widely available to try to get in. I think we're going to see similar fantasy output this week from a Tim Patrick type and a Deebo Samuel. Not Deebo's fault. That's the quarterback situation he's in.
Another quarterback situation I want to ask you about. Obviously, Sam Darnold has not looked very good for a few weeks now. So are you still rocking and rolling with DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson? Are you still rolling with those guys? Or are you telling people, you know what, if you got Panthers guys, if you have another option, go elsewhere?
Robbie Anderson, done. He's done. He's with Allen Robinson with me. Josh, he's gone. I don't want it to be the case, but it is. You can't start these guys. You can't. You're going to name recognition. You're hoping. There's nothing proving that these guys can jump back and produce. Nothing. And I'll throw Robinson in there as well because he's been super disappointing. And I have him on my team, so I get hot when I talk about him because, it bothers me. And that Myles Gaskin two-hosed us. Again, Josh. Again, Gaskin got us. And so when you look at the Panthers, it's Robbie Anderson. You can't. DJ Moore, if Sam Darnold can hit some sort of stride, the ball is going to him. So I would say still roll with Moore. And other than that, Chuba Hubbard really seems to be the guy who slower start as a rookie, but he had that 20 fantasy point game the other week. And I think that's the main focus you got to look at. He's not going to give you Christian McCaffrey numbers, of course, but he's going to give you enough. And the offense, I think, can roll enough through him where if things start going a little sideways, because like you said, Darnold hasn't played well, but Chuba Hubbard's fantasy output has been the last week. So that's a trend you can follow. I say Hubbard and DJ Moore, lower your expectations, but I believe you probably still got to get him in there.
Speaking of running backs, Baltimore apparently has 3 of them right now. Do you rock and roll with any of those 3?
No, Josh. No, listen, listeners to this fine program. No, if you go with a Baltimore running back, you are guessing. Maybe you get lightning in a bottle. Maybe Latavius Murray gets you a touchdown. Probably doesn't. Maybe Freeman. Maybe. Come on, man. The top running back we know is Lamar Jackson. He is a fantasy star. We know the offense runs through him. You cannot rely on anybody for your fantasy team from that Baltimore backfield. The ball is just distributed too much. John Harbaugh's not been shy about saying this as well. He gives us hints, people. He's told us this. It's going to be a rotation. It's going to be you can't count on anybody. I would avoid all of them. All of them, Josh. I don't even look. They're not even in my mind's eye when I think of running backs to choose. The Baltimore Ravens do not even pop up for a moment. Cannot rely on it. Do not do it.
Andy McNamara from Sportsnet joining us here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. Andy, let me ask you about another situation. The Raiders, big game last week. I was impressed. I was completely wrong. I thought the Raiders were going to be in shambles. Apparently, maybe John Gruden was holding them back. I don't know. But is what we saw last week sustainable? What we saw from Carr and all those offensive receivers. We know Waller always gets his. But the other receivers in Derek Carr, are you a believer in the post-John Gruden Raiders offensive weapons?
This is going to be the week that's going to tell us this, Josh, because it was emotional. And last week, it was going to be one of two ways. Either the team rallied together and balled out, or they were going to collapse under all the pressure. Well, they balled out. And now we have to look at how they respond. Is the pressure off? What do they look like? What do they feel as a team they can accomplish? And that's going to be the question. I think from what I saw earlier in the year, yes. Are they going to be as dominant as last week? Probably not. But I think that there is still the way with how Derek Carr has played, with how he's just been an impressive passer of the football with his decision-making, with the Darren Waller. The backfield I still don't like at all. And then you have a Hunter Renfrow that is somebody that can pop in as well on PPR, right? So I think it is to a certain degree.
Now, on the other side of the field is the Eagles on Sunday. And I want to ask you this question from, you're someone who's not here. You're not in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
You cover the entire league. You cover everything up there with Sportsnet. So earlier in the day, Mike Gill mentioned he was on a Vegas radio station talking about the Eagles, and they think the Eagles are better than their 2-4 record. Do you think the Eagles are better than their 2-4 record? Are they their 2-4 record, like Bill Parcells would say, or are they worse than their 2-4 record?
Ooh, great question. And you know what? I'm going to answer. I think that they are their 2-4 record, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. Now, you want the record better, but that's not meant as a slight at all. You have Jalen Hurts learning on the fly in his first year. You have a new offense. This is a transition. I don't think they're any worse. I think they can be in every single ball game. I think if you're a transitioning team with a young quarterback learning on the fly, you want to be able to say, are you in every ball game? And I think they have the pieces, and I think they have, on both sides of the football, they have the components to be able to hang with anybody. That doesn't mean you won't get blown out once in a while, but it means that you have the building block. So I think that 2-4 record is fair. Maybe less than what we were talking about in the preseason as far as a wild card team. Maybe that's a little adventurous to believe right now, but I still believe the Eagles are on the right track, and I believe they're on the right track with Jalen Hurts.
Give him a follow on Twitter at AndyMC81. Andy McNamara joins us every Thursday, talk NFL and fantasy sports. and he joins us live from Cleveland for Thursday Night Football. He'll be out there tonight. And Andy, one more time, plug what you guys are doing tomorrow.
Oh, thanks, brother. Yeah, so guys on Twitter at VASLL, the American Football Legends League, we are doing our Pro Football Hall of Fame live auction final show. It's tomorrow night. Me and Eric Metcalf. It's going to be at aosports.tv. You can watch the stream live. But get in on this, folks. This is the legend simulation. All the players in their prime. No injuries. You own the game when it comes to you're coaching these players. You're doing in-game live video game coaching decisions, Josh. You get to pick and customize your offense, your defense, and really being able to pick all these rated legends that we create, we customize in the game. The games are going to be broadcast. And the best part too, a lot of these athletes like Chris Carter, Eric Metcalf, Michael Vick, Nate Burleson, Walt Harris, other guys coming on board. You get to interact with them because they're the digital athlete NFT, and you're going to be able to work with the athletes themselves. So it's amazing. Go to uffsports.com. You can enter the auction there. Hit me up on Twitter, and we'll get you set up.
At AndyMC81. That's where you follow him on Twitter. Andy, enjoy the game tonight. We'll talk soon.
All right. Thanks, brother. Talk to you later.
Josh Hennig here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. Of course, Thursday's Fantasy Football Talk with Sportsnet's Andy McNamara here on 97.3 is being brought to you by Jim Malamut at Green Tree Mortgage, your best play. So refinance today. We'll get to your guys' thoughts and comments on the other side. Of course, you can DM the show through the 97.3 ESPN mobile app. Thanks to First Bank of Sea Isle City. Of course, you can download the 97.3 ESPN mobile app for free from the Apple App Store, from Google Play. You can text the show at 609-403-0973. And as always, we are live on YouTube and Twitter at 973 ESPN. I'm Josh Hennig, and this is Game Night.
It's Sixers basketball tomorrow on 97.3 ESPN with the voice of the 76ers, Tom McGinnis, calling all the exciting play-by-play action.
Oh, yeah!
The Sixers host the Brooklyn Nets. Coverage begins at 7:30. Philadelphia 76ers basketball on your radio home of the Sixers in South Jersey. 97.3 ESPN, South Jersey's play-by-play home for the 76ers.
you getting hit hard by low trade offers?
Ouch, that was a blindside.
That's a personal foul.
Don't get blindsided by low trade offers. Bring any trade to Matt Blatt Kia. Used car values are at an all-time high. Get to Matt Blatt Kia and select from over 100 new and certified Kias ready for delivery today. Put zero down and pay 0% interest for 60 months on every 2022 Kia Stinger and Niro EV. And remember, if you clear $400 per week, Matt Blatt Kia wants to approve you today. So bring any trade and drive home in a new Kia today with zero down and 0% financing.
It's gotta be a Matt Blatt Kia.
Offers with approved Tier 1 or 2 credit through Kia Motors Finance. Not all will qualify. 0% based on 1667 per 1,000 borrowed. Negative equity financed into new loan. Excludes taxes, title, license. Offers do not combine. Call 877-289-6670 or go to mattblattkianj.com for complete details. Expires 11/3/2021. Matt Blatt Kia, 6211 Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township. And now on Route 37 in Toms River.
Now, more Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
Josh Hennig back here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN FM. That's 97.3 ESPN mobile app. It's free. Thanks to First Bank of Sea Isle City. Get to your guys' thoughts in just a moment. Of course, don't forget with NFL Week 7 starting tonight, the baseball playoffs going on, as well as a full weekend of football, college football Saturday, NFL Sunday and Monday. You want to catch all the action at FanDuel Sportsbook inside Bally's Hotel and Casino in Atlantic City. It's time to get on all the games you love. Experience sports betting done right with live streaming games, food and beverage, self-service betting kiosks, and more. Get your game face on and score big this weekend when you bet with FanDuel Sportsbook only at Bally's off the boardwalk in Atlantic City. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Of course, we'll give you our football picks for the weekend tomorrow, brought to you by Bally's in Atlantic City right here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. Of course, before we get to any of that, we want to get to what you guys have to say. Kind of fill in the gaps of what we talked about a little bit earlier. Of course, first look ahead to the Eagles and the Raiders. We'll do that today and tomorrow here on 97.3 ESPN. Before we get to that, a couple messages came in. Of course, you can DM the show through the 97.3 ESPN mobile app. Thanks to First Bank of Sea Isle City. And of course, the text board is open as well at 609-403-0973. Text chimes in and says, how long will it take for the Simmons chance to get started? I say pregame tomorrow, says the texter. I mean, I can see it pregame. I think it'll be throughout. You know, you heard chants at the New Orleans game last night, for goodness sake. So if they're chanting stuff in New Orleans, you know they're chanting something here, right? So I totally suspect that, I don't know, Simmons sucks. Where's Ben? You know, some chants like that. They're going to be out there. You know, to be honest with you guys, the Simmons chants don't really matter to me because they don't have an impact on the situation. They're not going to make Morey trade him faster. Not going to get Ben on the court any quicker. It's just people venting how they feel, you know. And honestly, in today's world of social media and that kind of stuff, you know, people are going to express themselves. I'm kind of numb to it, honestly. I'm not too excited one way or the other. You know, I always believe that, you know, when I turn on this microphone, it's my job to be objective with you guys. And if I'm being objective, the fans chanting about Simmons, it might make me laugh. It might put a smile on my face, but it's not going to move me or shake me or influence me one way or the other. So why would it shake, move, or influence Daryl Morey, Elton Brand, Josh Harris, Ben Simmons, or anybody else? Listen, Joel Embiid says he doesn't care. He's done. He's not a babysitter. He's here to win basketball games. And that's how I'm treating the Sixers. I'll get on here and bash and rip Simmons every day until he's actually traded or until the day he actually decides to have a Diane Sawyer type interview and have a conversation about his problems. But until then, I'm going to be the anti-Simmons guy. I'm not going to hate the guy. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that he's the worst player on earth. I'm not going to tell you could trade him for a bag of peanuts. But, you know, the question was had yesterday. here on Game Night. We talked about it earlier on the Sports Bash here on 97.3 ESPN. If you trade Ben Simmons, what are you getting for him? And, like I said, I think it's going to be a team that is desperate. If the Blazers don't have a good start to this season, do they shake up their roster? And does that get Ben Simmons to Portland? Not for Lillard, though. Okay? For you Lillard stands out there who are obsessed over the idea of the Sixers acquiring him, I'll read you exactly what I posted on social media last night. I was reading this article from The Athletic. And The Athletic said the main reason why Lillard wants to be in Portland is because of Chauncey Billups. Lillard told The Athletic that a series of conversations with Billups over the summer helped center his thoughts back to Portland and what could happen if he stayed. The article further states that Lillard said the following to the media. That what Billups told him was a big part in his change of mindset. He said, I'm not going to share the details of the conversations, but watching the game, observing people, not many people who see what I see. And for Lillard, he never wanted out of Portland, but he was very unhappy with what Portland was doing at the end of last season. And the Athletic article goes into great detail. Lillard is not demanding to be traded, and Portland is not trading him. So get that idea out of your head. We live in a world where somebody reads something on social media tweeted by some random dude who most of us have never heard of, and we think just because someone says it, it makes it real. I had a buddy yesterday shooting me screenshots from Twitter about Deshaun Watson stuff, and I said, listen, people can say whatever they want, but unless I hear it from Schefter, Rappaport, Jeremy Fowler, Albert Breer, I can't rock and roll with it. It's the same thing with the NBA stuff. Unless it comes from Woj, Shams, Scoop B, Keith Pompey, people who have a track record of getting things right and giving us information that has a track record of being right, I can't rock with it. But I do think there's a possibility that Ben Simmons gets traded to Portland, but not for Damian Lillard, for CJ McCollum and some sort of package deal. I'm not saying McCollum's going to fix all your problems, but he makes sense offensively for you. Defensively, that's a bit of a problem. I don't think you're going to find an adequate trade as of right now that is going to fill the Ben Simmons defensive void. You can find a guy who'll give you more offense for sure, but I don't think you're going to find a guy who fills the defensive void as of right now. Now, we don't know who's going to be involved and not involved in the trade market by the time December 20th and 21st comes around, right? So a lot of what we're having right now is pure speculation. But for the Sixers, they're going to find value for Ben. Again, whether it's CJ McCollum or whether it's somebody else. So there's a lot of things to keep track of with all of this. Josh Hennig here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. Before we get out of here, of course, FanDuel Sportsbook has the same game parlay insurance. I want to give you guys some same game parlay options I'm looking at for tonight's game. So, same game parlay, go on the market. You hit up same game parlay. I don't usually do this, but I like the first half under in this game tonight. And it's because of the fact that I just don't think these offenses are going to go out there and be able to do much initially. I think the fact that the Browns have issues on their offensive line, the Broncos can get after Case Keenum. I don't think the Browns are going to score a lot of points in the first half. I think the Broncos are going to be limited as well. I think that the fact it's in Cleveland, not the best weather out there, there's some mitigating factors. So the over-under in the first half is 20.5 I'm leaning the under. I think this first half is like a 10-7, 13-6 kind of first half. What I do like overall in the game is Teddy Bridgewater over 229 passing yards. Bridgewater, the least he's thrown for this year in a game he's played the full game was 235. It feels like a very safe bet to rock with that. And then I like Tim Patrick anytime touchdown score. That alone is a plus 310. Cortland Sutton plus 180 anytime touchdown scorer. I think Teddy throws a touchdown. I'm not sure who it's to, but I think it's going to be one of those two guys tonight. I think it's going to be a low-scoring football game tonight. You can hear all the action right here on your home for Eagles, Sixers, Flyers, 973 ESPN. Of course, Thursday night football, Sunday night, and Monday night football, as well as college football. We got Notre Dame and Penn State on Saturday right here on 973 ESPN, following Billy Schwein in the locker room. Thanks again to Andy McNamara for joining us. We'll be talking more Eagles and Sixers tomorrow on Game Night, following Mike Gill and the Sports Bash. Mike Gill at 2 p.m. I'll be at 6 p.m. here on 973 ESPN. Have a great day, everybody.